You're supposed to be my friend!
You hear that, Tecmo Koei? You hear that? That's how it feels. That's how it feels to longtime Dead or Alive fans like myself.
You hurt so many people on that Sunday. I mean, sure, you may say that the Dead or Alive team is active, but you hurt so many people that night.
And with that said, I'm Ikaricast, and that's Double RPG.
Yes, I'm Double RPG. Unfortunately, Jeff could not even make it today, so you could say I'm his replacement, or I was just going to come as a special guest either way. But anyway, this one's for you, buddy.
Yep. Now, we know Jeff has a lot of vitriol. He has a lot to say, and unfortunately, he had a family obligation, so couldn't make it.
Yeah, since it's almost Christmas time.
Exactly.
He has to get stuff done on his end. But, hey, there are times when life's important than,
exactly.
projects and activity.
Like me, I was working on a contest for a manga publication. Shonen Jump had a contest, and I may or may not make that deadline. But hey, I had some health insurance stuff to take care of first, so unfortunately that took up most of my time.
The listeners on here and the viewers who are watching the gameplay footage, but for the listeners on here, they may not even know who is running the contest. So Jerry, can you tell them who is the person who's actually running the contest? Which manga are there?
Yes, the person who is running the contest, who's reading each and every submission that the contest gets and judging it himself as head judge, is none other than Masashi Kishimoto, the man who created Naruto.
Damn!
Yeah. So yeah, that's the main reason why I wanted to enter. Like, I didn't even want to win. I just wanted to say Masashi Kishimoto read my manga.
Oh yeah. So that way you at least get some recognition. I mean, that's quite a noble endeavor.
Hopefully, I still make the deadline, but if not, oh well. I had health insurance comes first. Trust me, especially during this season with cold and flus and all that.
Oh yeah, and I had a cold just recently, but I'm finally getting over it.
I need to get my flu shot, and I couldn't get it before because I was uninsured.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing, too, is I actually got my flu shot back in September, and I should have been void of a cold, but unfortunately I was not void of it, but luckily enough, this one didn't last that too long, luckily.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
So, before we have a little bit of news, because this is like an old-school, traditional Ikaricast. If you don't know about that, go look in the archives over on my personal channel, because this will be on Geek Fighters and my personal, but first Geek Fighters. And look for the old Ikaricast, just type Ikaricast. This is how it went down. We had an intro, we had news, then we had the main topic. So, but before the news, how you been, Double R? What's going on lately? Well, how's your week?
I've been all right. I've actually got me Yakuza Kiwami and Persona 5 as of recent, so it's a couple more games to add to my PlayStation 4 collection. But in terms of my week, you could say it's actually been pretty normal, maybe except for the next few days, since I have to work 8-hour days on those days. Well, except for Saturday. But last week was, oh my gosh, since Christmas is getting closer and closer, work has just been eating up most of my time. But luckily, I've been having plenty of time on the outside to actually, or on my off days, to work on my Golden Sun retrospective, which is coming along very nicely. I'm just past 30 minutes, and now I'm talking about the second game in the main series, which is The Lost Age. But as I said before, for those of you who don't know, when we did the live stream during the VGAs, I probably won't get it done before Christmas. Well, definitely won't get it done before Christmas, but I'm aiming for a January release. But it's coming along nicely. But other than that, not a whole lot's been going on in my world. But yeah, still gaming, still working on projects, still working. Just all the good stuff coming from me. How about you, Jerry?
Well, I also picked up Yakuza Kiwami. Well, I was the one who told you about Yakuza Kiwami being cheap. Yeah,
I know. It's really awesome how they have those deals that go on at video game retail stores like that during the holidays.
So I was able to get Yakuza Kiwami for $10 because we had a $10 coupon and it was selling new for $20. So boom.
And how I got my copy of Yakuza Kiwami and Persona 5. Well, wait till we get on to the main meat and potatoes of this video, because that's how, and I'll tell you how I actually got it.
I know where this is going, but they won't.
Yeah.
So yeah, playing Yakuza Kiwami, the health insurance stuff I had to take care of, because they were saying, the weird thing is, I don't get about Massachusetts. I don't know how it works in your state, but over here, like, Mass Health, I don't get it. First, they send me a letter saying I don't exist. Mm-hmm. Then I call them up. I called them up back in October, which is when this all started. And they said, fax us your documents. I say, okay. I faxed them the document. I call a couple weeks later. Hey, so am I covered yet? Nope, we can't find you. Yeah, nope, you're not covered. What? Fax us. Oh, here's a different number. Fax that number. Okay, I'll fax that number. Fax them. Call again after, like, waiting a whole month. I'm like, wait a minute. Am I covered? Nope. What do you mean I'm not covered? I waited a whole month. I faxed you guys. I thought it just took time and I'd be okay. No. So I finally go in person this week. Get this. All that waiting. When I go in person, I go and I see the receptionist. I see it's like an 80-year-old woman who's not paying attention to anything and who's literally using a walker just to get around the office. And I'm like, why is she here? She should be home. Should be at work. And then she asked me, hey, you can just leave your documents with me or you could see somebody. I said, I'll see somebody. I don't care.
I'd rather see somebody because I don't trust you.
Exactly. I didn't trust her. Lo and behold, I wait. I get a missed call on my phone from Mass Health. I'm like, oh, what? Then I go, hey, I missed a call from you guys. What's going on? They say, oh, where did I put your application? I knew not to trust her. She forgot where she even put my application. The other person, the person higher up at Mass Health, finds my application, says, oh, you just need to prove your identity. You have proof? Yeah, here. Okay. Goes to the back for like a minute, comes back, gives me identification back, and says, you're all set. Your health insurance will be on in less than 24 hours. What?
Wow.
So that was all on my mind for the past 2 months up till now. Like, I finally get that burden off my shoulders, like, jeez. And that kind of has been affecting, like, my work. Like, I haven't, like, besides the manga contest, I also have another video I was working on. I was doing Double R, the video, my animation series, where I recorded this back in October before that mess even happened. And, like, I never got to work on it because I was just, like, it kind of put me in this point, like, my brain, like I'm a zombie, like, I just forget stuff. So all I was working on was my webcomic and nothing else. Then I find out about the manga contest. I've only been working on that, so that preempted the video. But yes, that video is already recorded. I need to do the animatics and the audio editing, which thankfully for me is simple. It's literally just truncate silence. In Audacity, I used... By the way, Double R, remember how you said in the last drop I sounded more lively? That's how. I used truncate silence. So that's why it sounded like I was more alert when really I just cut out all my awkward pauses.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's something that a lot of people do. I mean, they don't want to sound like they're dreary all the time. I mean, sure, that may be the realistic side of it, but when doing cuts like that, it actually, for mentions, they're like, hey, you actually sound really passionate about what you do.
Exactly. Because when I heard it back, I was like, wow, this sounds a lot better. Even though I don't like editing, I might start doing that more often, the whole truncate silence thing. And also boosting my audio levels. That's what I was doing too. Yeah,
because I honestly thought that his last episode of The Drop was very fantastic. Probably the best that he's ever done so far.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Takes a little extra time, but...
Oh, yeah.
That's usually why I don't. It isn't because I don't want to edit it. It's because I want to get things done quick, but quick... You can't have quick and good. You either do it right or you do it fast. It can't be both.
Hey, hey, Cows. Yeah. You know how you were at the pharmacy and you were confronting that lady who was looking at the counter, as well as confronting the person who actually got your insurance on file?
Oh, yep.
Even though your your questioning may be different to them, the context of the situation, on both situations, but this is what you should have said to them. She was up there working, and when that person got your thing filed, this is what you should have said to them.
Nigga, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Especially to that pharmacist who was threatening to call the cops. Like, what? I forgot my PIN. I didn't forget it. I'm dyslexic. I put in my PIN backwards. That's what happens when you're dyslexic.
Yeah.
Like, I actually am dyslexic. I don't mean like, haha, I made that one mistake. Like, I do that all the time, that kind of mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
and she was like, oh, I'll call the cops if you get your pin wrong. Really? Really? Because all that would happen is I'd show them my ID and show them I'm the actual owner of the card. Like, you'd just be wasting everybody's time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my month. I went instead of a week. So thankfully now things are getting better now. Now I can work on my manga, and when that's done, work on if I make the deadline. When that's done, I'll work on the next animation video. All right, then I guess it's time for news. Since we're done.
Yeah. News time. Woo!
So I've got some pieces of news you sent me, and then I got another big piece of news that we talked about a couple days ago, but big enough that I think we should talk about it. You know which one I'm talking about. It's in our. By the way, join our Discord. Link will be in the description.
Yes, definitely do. We love mingling with you guys in the chat, so definitely come on over to the Discord chat, and we'll try and talk with you. Maybe not top voice chat, but just text talk.
Although there is an open voice chat, so doesn't mean we'll join. That's what Double R is saying, but it is there.
Yeah, doesn't mean we'll join.
But it is there. Sometimes we'll join.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a business. I mean, if you're in an executive position, they talk to each other, like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. In the anime section of our Discord, I posted that news we'll be talking about last before our DOA talk. But yeah, first piece of news. Now this one I have first. This is because this is for Jeff since he's not here. There's a new Spider-Man story arc starting in the comics, the actual comics. Amazing Spider-Man number 796. This arc is called Go Down Swinging, and it's about Red Goblin, this new character that Dan Slott made up. That I don't know if it's supposed to be like a demon fused with Goblin or Carnage or what, but like whatever it is, it's supposed to be an epic Goblin battle. Like
wow, like
finally, this is like the biggest Goblin, and they don't even know who the Red Goblin is, if it's Osborn or not. Oh wait, no, it says right here, it is Osborn.
Oh wow, so it is him.
Dan Slott saves the most harrowing Spider-Man story for last as he and Stuart Emonin kick off the Amazing Spider-Man. This is from comic book. This is from Bleeding Cool. This is the official synopsis. Osborn got his crazy back and has a plan that'll make all his past plans look like child's play. Peter Parker and the people he loves, all of them, all in all caps, are in deep trouble. And who or what is the Red Goblin? So we don't know. The only way Spider-Man survives is to go down swinging. So the reason why I bring this up is because a lot of us, me and Jeff, don't really like Dan Slott because...
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, he does weird things. And if you ever go by his Twitter, this guy just always has like some rhetoric, some crazy stuff he's always talking about. Like, ugh. So
okay, if you want to know what this guy did, then there is a little there's a little thing within the comics about Norman Osborn's return, but before his death, he secretly, quote unquote, violated her.
Yeah. God, that story.
And then there was another story arc that he did that pretty much just gave a big FU for there to be any character Parker and Mary Jane, and that was a little story arc called One More Day, or was that what it's called?
That was Casada.
Okay,
not Slott.
Okay, never mind then.
But yeah, the reason why this is big is because it's been confirmed that this will be his last Amazing Spider-Man story. He'll be off the book after this arc.
About damn time.
Gives us a ray of hope for Spider-Man stories again. That's the reason why I bring this up. So if you're a Spider-Man fan but you don't like Dan Slott, just wait for this arc to be done.
Okay, I got a question.
Yeah.
There are 4 goblins in the Spider-Man universe now. We have Green Goblin. Yep. We have Hobgoblin.
Yep.
We have Demo Goblin. And now we have Red Goblin.
Yep.
What have they not, or what has Marvel not done before in terms of the Goblin?
Exactly. Which is making me wonder, is this a Carnage? Is this symbiote Goblin? What is this? He looks like a crazy demon thing.
You know, because if it was something like Cletus Cassidy ends up putting on the Green Goblin suit with the symbiote, then yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I wonder. Because yeah, all it says in the synopsis,
just looking at
what is Red Goblin?
Just looking at Green Goblin himself, I mean, he kind of does look like a symbiote with that mouth of his.
Yeah, already.
Yeah, so kind of wouldn't make sense for like the Venom's offspring, the red symbiote, to actually attach to a suit and end up becoming like Goblin Carnage.
Oh, by the way, the person who's going to be replacing him after this arc is going to be Nick Spencer, who wrote Secret Empire. If you know what Secret Empire is.
A comic book buff.
Well, the comic book readers will get it. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
You guys will. Anyways.
The only lore that I'm actually interested in is mostly the Ninja Turtles one, because that's been a very phenomenal comic book that they've been doing since 2011.
That's IDW, right?
Mm-hmm. IDW. Great comic book publisher.
All right. So next piece of news, Trails of Cold Steel 4, The End of Saga. Double R, why don't you take the point for this one?
Okay. So, yes, for those of you who are familiar, the Legend of Heroes IP is derived from the TurboGrafx 16 game called Dragon Slayer. And basically, it's playing this... it's basically this anthology series of games that takes place within the same time period, but within different parts of this big, huge, massive open world. And there's like 4 different continents within the Legend of Heroes storyline, which this one is the Trails of Cold Steel games. It actually takes place in the country of Erebonia, which has been mainly portrayed as an antagonistic empire back in the past, especially when games like Trails in the Sky, which was really big during the PSP era, and then it came to it was a really big it's still a really big game series even for those Falcom. But Trails of Cold Steel, it started on the PS3, the PS3's life cycle, and now it just made the transition to PlayStation 4. And originally with the Trails or the Legend of Heroes IP, especially when it comes to like the Trails games, which, Trails in the Sky, and of course Trails of Cold Steel, they would usually have a trilogy of games. But this one, Trails of Cold Steel, there's a 4th installment, and it's going to be the final installment for it. So I think that kind of breaks away from their three game rule for Nihon Falcom. But it's the current story arc that focuses on all the troubles that are going on within the Erebonian Empire, and you play as a character who goes by the name of Rain. And if for those of you at least Trails in the Sky, if you played a character named Joshua Blight, who is the deuteragonist next to the protagonist Estelle Blight, which they're brother and sister, but not by blood, but just by adoption. But if you understand the character of Joshua Blight, then you could definitely understand the position where Rain Schwarzer comes from. He's a very, very awesome protagonist, and but one of the things that he has within him, aside from just being a normal human being, he does have like a demonic alter ego inside of him, which is called the ogre power, and basically it's the same thing. Take for example, Street Fighter. You know how Ryu has the Satsui no Hado, the murderous intent, because the ogre power that's in Rain Schwarzer is basically like that, where it's a curse or like cancer in him, and if something were to go wrong, then that power would just kick up inside of him, and it would start to overtake his good personality. So basically, the ogre power is essentially like that. But Trails of Cold Steel, it started off what seemed to be like a very good, very bright atmospheric type of game, but then it just gradually just got darker and darker with every game that goes by. And Trails of Cold Steel, the first game, you actually played in this academy called the Thor's Academy, where you play as Rain Schwarzer, and there were like 9 members of this class called Class 0 or Class 7, it is Class 7, because it's basically a class where all the commoners and nobles actually get together to form this class, so that way there can be more of a bridge more of a bridge between the two classes, so that way they can work side by side. So basically, the first game was like that. You're spending time in the academy, and then the next game, the Thor's Academy has been abandoned because of war activity that's going on. So basically, everybody has been separated and disbanded, and you're trying to put the team together. Game, it returns back to the academy, but as Rain Schwarzer, you're playing as one of the newest professors there, and his ability is to lead the next generation when it comes to those who are to be the successors of Class 7. But the fourth game, it's actually going to be they really haven't announced that much yet, but for Rain Schwarzer's case, with that curse that he had, the ogre power that's been kind of prevalent since it actually starts to take over him full time, where it goes out of control and his good personality is completely lost. But anyway, I do have the first bit of information about the story. It's, like I said, it's really vague, as not a lot of story details has been placed into it. So here, let me go ahead and read off what the story says, and be aware that these are minor spoilers. With the Great Twilight set into motion, which I think the Great Twilight is like a cataclysmic event within the world of the Legend of Heroes games, or something within the anthology, but I'm not entirely certain, so don't quote me on that. But anyway, continue. With the Great Twilight set in motion, a curse has spread across the entire empire. The Ashen Knight, Rain Schwarzer, which, as I said, Rain Schwarzer is the main protagonist of the Trails of Cold Steel games, which I'm not sure if he's going to be the main protagonist in this game or not, but taking a look at this synopsis, it doesn't look like he's going to be, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is. But it says, the Ashen Knight Rain Schwarzer lost himself to his ogre power that went out of control. As the world approaches its end, what will the remaining members of New and Old Class 7 do? And the Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4 will complete the series with the conclusion of the Erebonian Empire, with overwhelming volume and grand scale that goes beyond Trails of Cold Steel 3. So if you already thought that the other Trails of Cold Steel games are big in scope for them being... Yeah, they're big in scope, but this one looks like it's going to push the envelope. And, of course, Trails of Cold Steel 3 already released in Japan not too long ago, so it was time before we start hearing bits and pieces of information about Trails of Cold Steel 4, which is also coming out on PlayStation 4, which is slated for a late or fall 2018 release for the PS4. And, of course, the only Trails of Cold Steel games we got in the West are both the first game and the second game, while the third game is still being worked on for localization by XC Games and Marvelous Interactive, if I'm not mistaken. But it's still a matter of time before we get 3 and Trails of Cold Steel 4, which, Trails of Cold Steel 4 is still early because that game's going to come out in Japan first. But Trails of Cold Steel 1 at least has made it onto Steam, with the second game coming out in 2018, in the summer of 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, we got Steel 3 and 4 to look forward to on the PlayStation 4. And speaking of Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, they've also are slated to release on the PlayStation 4, at least in Japan. But if they get a PlayStation 4 release, then by all means, pick up those games. I mean, they're really great JRPGs. Even if they are an anthology series, when it comes to Nihon and Falcom, they still know how to make great traditional JRPGs. But yeah, be on the lookout for more information about Trails of Cold Steel 4, which we're going to be hearing more in 2018, up until the game's release in the fall of that year. But like I said, story details are very scarce, but based on this information alone, I'm actually very intrigued to see how the ending of the Trails of Cold Steel, story arc is going to turn out. But anyway, that's my end on it. So, Jerry, what do you have to say about the synopsis? What are your thoughts on Trails of Cold Steel, or any of the Legend of Heroes games in general?
Okay, that was way too long.
Sorry.
You lost me.
I know.
I never played those games, so I'll have to pick up the anthology though that you mentioned.
Oh yeah, when they come out on PS4,
they look good. I saw the screenshots.
They're going to be separate. Yeah, they're going to be separate games, but hopefully they do come out in the West. But yeah, when it comes to JRPGs, there's a lot that you have to suck in and even know about beforehand.
Oh, man.
So I know that you wouldn't be able to get it firsthand, but based on this information alone, and I'm sorry if it went off on tangent, but yeah, that's basically what there is for Trails of Cold Steel 4. I mean, so you never played any of the Legend of Heroes games, Jerry?
Nope. I played Ys.
Well,
that's the closest
that's a
TurboGrafx game I played. That's still going on.
But if you're really into really great, quality, heavily story-driven Japanese role-playing games, then the Trails of Cold Steel is actually pretty good. You don't have to play any of the other games, but Trails of Cold Steel would be a good place for you to go into, say, in the HD or the HD generation of gaming. So there you go, man.
All right. So my next piece of news is going to be just some good old facepalm because of Soul Calibur 6 and the people who love to whine about anime boobs, because drawn boobs or digital, real issues don't real issues don't matter. The way characters are portrayed in a fictional game, in a fictional digitized thing. Anyways, we're talking about Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah.
In an interview with Metro, they were talking about, like, and I quote, first Metro says, and I quote, Ivy, whether she's in a new game or not, her outfit's a lot more problematic today than they were when the series began. Is that something you wanted to address? Then he's like, what? And then after he's like, the one of the creators of the game or whatever, higher ups.
I think it's the main producer.
Yeah. He says, I still want to keep the body shape and the atmosphere of each character to be the backbone of each character. He's like, this is how the character, this is their personality. And then he gets asked, do you have female designers working on the team? To which he just responds, of course. Why? Like, somebody commented on the Facebook page that showed this screen cap. Oh, you create an attractive female character? You must be sexist. Do you even hire women? Of course. Like, what?
Of course.
Like, really? A character is attractive in a video game. Oh, I hate women.
God. They
And then-
really need to know how the industry works.
Yeah. And then, to add on to that, Silicon Era posted more about this interview. They asked them about the Switch version. And they said, Soul Calibur 6 development started more than 3 years ago, and nobody knew anything about the Switch back then. So we're not working on the Switch as of now. But of course, personally, I'm interested in the platform. So if the Unreal Engine can adapt to the Switch and evolve itself, then maybe the possibility will be more. And you got some comments saying about the Unreal Engine, like, hey, it works on Switch. But then people are saying that, like, yeah, it works on Switch if you're the Nintendo developer, but, like, third parties still don't know how to work it right. But then again, doesn't Doom run well? Or
it runs well on Switch.
So yeah, you've got, people wanting a Switch thing, which they just said, it isn't that they hate the Switch, it's just that they developed, like, right? It was 3 years ago, we're still calling it the NX at that point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they obviously didn't even have a developer kit, so
exactly.
it'll just be a chance of porting it whatever they can, which they even said they're interested in that, because why not, right? More ports means more money.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, is that with Nintendo and Bandai Namco, they have a really good relationship, so I don't see it being far-fetched that they would actually get a Nintendo Switch 6 in the future.
Yep.
And with that PR response, that's definitely good PR talk. That's not bad or confusing PR talk. That's good right there, because that's something that you can actually relate to, and everybody will be more understanding of that.
I have to give the guy props for having patience with dealing with these crazies. Oh, boobs! How dare you? Like,
I think it's because when they saw Sophia's.
Yeah, but
that's when,
wait till
that's
they see Tacky. And the guy mentioned Ivy too before, and it's like, well, that's the character, so deal with it. Like,
yeah, I mean,
we're not going to be Capcom and censor ourselves just to please you.
It's like they can't even establish what's fantasy and what's reality, and video games are purely fantasy.
Exactly. What does having, like, these characters are fictional and they're idealized. Plus, by the way, I've seen plenty of real life women that look like that, so that's not even a thing. Like, oh, she doesn't look real. Like, trust me, I've seen women with big boobs.
Okay, journalists, I got a couple questions. Where were you when they actually showed cock in Grand Theft Auto 4? Where were you when they actually showed penis for 1886?
Order, yeah, exactly.
Where were you on those social justice warriors?
Especially that in the Order. I remember seeing that ran. I'm like, whoa! I wasn't expecting to see penis.
Yeah.
So, I've got two more pieces of news. I just remember one. This one's quick.
Okay.
Street Fighter V AE. Over on the Up, Down, Down. If you're a pro wrestling fan, the New Day, Xavier Woods and all them. Xavier Woods has his own gaming channel, Up, Down, Down. 1.3 million subscribers, right? And him and some wrestling fans got some exclusive... Wrestling fans. His wrestling buddies, AJ Styles and the Usos, were with him to show off exclusive news on his channel, which is kind of cool, but also kind of weird. Like, randomly on a YouTube channel. But they showed that Street Fighter V Arcade Edition was going to have an arcade mode. Duh. It's going to have team battle. and it'll be elimination style. And you remember the old team battles back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Old PS1 games would have that. And Tekken had it for a long time.
Oh, yeah. I think even the original Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast actually had that too.
Which I still have. So
yeah, I still have it on the Dreamcast too, and it looks really good, especially when you're playing the game with SCART cable.
Yeah, I was just watching. When you have the time, after you watch our video, of course, plug right. After you watch our video, go find Adam Koralik and find his video. He just did one on the NES and on its picture clarity. Go find that. He gives you a whole lot of information about different cables and why different cables give you different results on picture clarity.
Yeah.
Because it does matter. S-cart, between component, composite, all that. Yeah.
Definitely.
And finally, you got anything else to say on Street Fighter? I think we already said it.
No, I'm getting the free update since I have the game, which I got for $10, the original base version.
For $10, I wouldn't have been mad at getting, especially with that update. I would not have been mad at getting Street Fighter V for $10, like you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Not to mention, I actually got a pretty good deal on the Season 2. By
the way,
Pass.
Fight Money is apparently going away. So remember when they said, "Oh, you don't have to pay anything"? Yeah, it looks like you're gonna have to pay.
God damn it!
Yeah. It's like, we already spent 40 or whatever, and then you want us to spend like another 30 on each season's characters? How much is that?
Now, here's can remedy that. For every character they released, make an objective to where you can actually unlock the character instead of going the different route, going the alternative route where you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to get rid of the fight money.
Yeah.
I mean, even Smash Brothers 4 on the Wii U and 3DS actually did that, to where you don't start off the game with all the characters. You have to go through certain objectives in order to unlock the different characters. And the same thing with Brawl. Yep. But, of course, the alternative in Brawl was just to play through the Subspace Emissary Adventure mode, and then you unlock the characters there. But, yeah, all right. That's it on my end.
Here's the last piece of news. This one's pretty big. This came out, like, last week. No, December the 19th. What day is today?
Today's the 20th, so it would have been the 18th.
Yeah, whenever I found this news, it was actually a little while ago. Anyways, there's a new Dragon Ball movie coming. Don't know the name. All we know is it's going to be the 20th movie. 20th overall, that is.
Yeah.
Because, if you don't know, Dragon Ball, before Z, also had movies. People forget about original Dragon Ball. Mm-hmm. So, before that... Soda. So this movie is going to be unlike the other Dragon Ball movies. It says it's going to focus on the, quote, origin of the Saiyan strength. That can mean a lot of things, but it seems like the big thing to think about is that before this movie was announced, Toriyama had an interview where he mentioned the origin of Super Saiyan God, and he mentioned a character named Yamoshi, and how this character, his spirit, moved to Namek, and even Beerus was able to feel it, and that's how come he got that premonition of a Super Saiyan God. So the guess is that this movie will be about Yamoshi instead of about Goku, and it'll be like a far-flung prequel.
So basically an origin story of the whole Saiyan race.
If that's true, awesome. Finally,
not like the episode of Bardock special. No, that's not an origin story. That's more of a gag.
Yeah, that Bardock one about Super Saiyan origin. Yeah, that. Hopefully this will. If I remember correctly, that Bardock one doesn't count anyway. So good.
No,
because that one wasn't. That one wasn't by Toriyama. This one will be. This one is going to have Toriyama's hand. So as you notice, when you get Toriyama's hand, you get Battle of Gods and stuff. So. And even though people didn't like Resurrection F that much, I mean, as much as Battle of Gods, it's still considered good because of him. So hopefully this will be good. I'm actually going to look for more info from that link from Toei Animation USA. It says here Toriyama, the original author of Dragon Ball, will lead the original story, screenplay, and character design. Yeah. So he's going to be heavily involved. And again, we don't know. Yeah.
Like he was in the Gods and Resurrection F,
right?
In that position,
right? So
whereas in the manga and the anime of Dragon Ball Super, he was mostly there to write the story and give concepts and all that.
Yeah, like bullet points almost. But in this, he's going to be deeply involved, and it's gonna at least be decent because of that. But my thing is whether this really will be an origin or not, because like I said, that quote, it says it focuses on the origin of their strength. So it's like, is this gonna be about Yamoshi or it's gonna be about Goku after all somehow?
Well,
I'd rather the Yamoshi spinoff, but who knows?
Well, I would say if they are going for Yamoshi, the original Super Saiyan God, then chances are that this character is pretty much going to be looking a lot like Goku.
Or Vegeta.
Yeah, one of the two.
Who knows?
Who knows? But hey, Dragon Ball Super is still going on, and they still haven't even finished up the whole Universe Survival arc, which is nearing it. It's in pretty soon.
It's supposed to be shooting for March.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to, I don't know why, but they're going to drag this out for like 2 more months.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's good to go. I don't know why they're dragging, I don't know, I have no idea. But whatever. So yeah, that's the last of our news, finally.
Absolutely, and I'm ready for a new story arc.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully this will be about, like, there's so many possibilities with spin-offs and all that. It doesn't have to be Goku-centric. Hopefully they take that.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're gonna take a break. For you guys it'll be like nothing, but for us it'll be a little break. And we'll be back with Dead or Alive 5. It's Jam. Alright, we're back from that break, which seemed unnoticeable to you because you podcast magic. But,
yeah.
Double RPG and I are here to talk about the main contender, and that's Dead or Alive 5. And Dead or Alive as a whole.
Oh yeah.
You see, back on Sunday, which was the 17th. It was on the 17th.
18th. Yeah, it was the 18th. Sunday's the 18th.
No, 18th was Monday.
No, it was 17th. Never mind.
Yeah.
Today is Wednesday. Oh, well, what the hell am I thinking of? But anyway, yeah, it was the 17th.
I know my time space.
He says he's dyslexic, but...
Right?
No, I'm just kidding.
Rub it off. No.
Yeah, I know.
So, on Sunday the 17th, Team Ninja tweeted, well, before that, they tweeted that there's going to be an announcement on the 17th that after the tournament at Northeast Championships 2018, even though it's this year in 2017, but it's 2018, at the end of the tournament, they have a special announcement. Get excited! Okay, they told us to get excited. Like, basically, they were like, yeah, we have a big announcement. Yeah. Like, come on!
If you say big excitement, you literally want to get people excited, not just, say that to and then you say to yourself, oh yeah, this is for a eulogy or a funeral. Right,
this is what happened. See, the announcers, the commentators of the stream, were even wondering, like, all right, we're getting ready for that new game. All right, let's see what's going on. Then all of a sudden, you just see this weird, like, eulogy is like the correct word. Before it shows up, you've got one of the developers crying, straight up weeping on stage in front of everybody. Just outright weeping. Because he was mentioning, like, I've been with this for so long, and I can't believe this is, like, changing, and this is, I'm done. And, like, what do you mean you're done? And then all of a sudden, like, they show this video, which is basically a eulogy, like, where Yosuke Hayashi and the other developers were saying, we have to look to the future. For now, the franchise is on hold. He said, quote, the... Where's that, where is it? Oh yeah, the DOA team is, quote, very active, whatever that means, because how can you say because Team Ninja is more than one team, even though it's called Team Ninja, like there's one, it's actually more than one team. But he said specifically the DOA team is active, even though he said specifically Dead or Alive franchise is on hold. And people are saying, oh no, he only meant Dead or Alive 5. No, we knew that before the stream that Dead or Alive 5 was done. Yeah,
exactly, because we already knew ahead of time about the final DLC pack, which was to celebrate Tecmo's 30th anniversary. And it was basically a bunch of costumes relating to their past franchises and such.
So they're like, well, you guys should it's only DOA 5 he's mentioning. No, we already knew that. He wouldn't announce something we already knew. This guy's talking about the franchise, bruh.
Yeah.
So when people are saying, well, there's a new game that came out in November. No, it's only in Japan. And it's basically, a freemium version of Extreme 3? This Venus Vacation thing?
Yeah.
So it's not even really a new game? I'm double checking on Venus Vacation, by the way.
Okay.
I love how one of the things about finding the costumes is from Kotaku, because I thought Kotaku was against this game.
Well, obviously they still are.
But they have a guide on how to get... Oh, no, never mind. They are, because it's making fun of the game. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Venus Vacation is a freemium version of DOA Extreme 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, just like how there's Core Fighters. So it's not really a new game. People are saying, well, they released a new game. No, it's not. It's just a freemium version of a previous game.
Yeah, it's just basically a free-to-play model of that game.
Yeah, exactly. So, even the Extreme version of the game, the spin-off is dead, basically. Like, that's not a new version of it. That's just freemium.
No.
Unless somebody's going to comment in the things, you guys are wrong. Well, actually, I'd like to be proven wrong, but from what I'm seeing, and even the official news outlets that are covering it are saying it's just a free-to-play version of Extreme 3.
Does it still include the VR mode?
No idea. What I do know is, again, this game is only in Japan, which some people are saying that that's what killed it, although I never saw people getting in a tizzy over it. From what I've seen, them not releasing over here is more like them just wanting to avoid what they think will be a tizzy, but nobody... Kotaku got mad at the VR thing, but that's what they do. Like,
of course.
The sales of Dead or Alive 5 last round and from the beginning 5 years ago were so good, like, I don't see why they could have just ignored the SJWs or whatever you want to call them. Like they could have just ignored them and made bank, like they did with the actual fighter. So I don't think that's the reason why they're killing it.
No.
But whatever the reason is, I still can't wrap my head around it, because Double R, what did I say? What did I say about the game? What did I just say? It makes bank, right?
Yeah, it does make bank, because Dead or Alive 5, with the original version, and then Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate, and then Dead or Alive 5 Last Round, they all sold very well between all three versions of the exact same game. And they made so much money off those games, they made at least $1,000 worth of downloadable content.
Think about that. They're making so much money off of people buying just the game, and if they have the freemium version, just the characters. And then on top of that, people buying buttloads of costumes. $1,000 worth of costumes.
Yeah.
There's no way this wasn't making money hand over fist.
You know, I was kind of hoping that one of the DLC... I was kind of hoping that one of the DLCs would be at least for more story, because it was, it's still left unfinished at this point.
That's something I mentioned as well on the Reddit thread, on the official Dead or Alive subreddit. I was like, wait a minute. This game obviously left on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, because basically it just followed the same exact trope as... where's Donovan? Are they going to put the smackdown on him and pretty much bring this franchise to a close? Now, at this point, we're not even sure.
Who is Honoka? Who is she? Like, what? Why does she have her powers? Why can she mimic everybody?
Yeah.
Who's Mary Rose? What is her involvement besides being Helena's maid or whatever? And who's Neo Tengu? Like, they kind of explained them, but they never gave them their actual proper stories.
You know, it makes me wonder too. Why include the Virtua Fighter characters in there if this franchise is basically going to suffer the same fate as Virtua Fighter to begin with?
Yeah, right now it's in Virtua Fighter limbo. Yep.
Yeah, it's like, why did you include those characters? Or better yet, why did you include Momiji? Why did you include Rachel from Ninja Gaiden?
Yep.
What's their purpose?
Mai Shiranui, Naotora.
Yeah, Naotora from Samurai Warriors.
But nope, let's just kill it. As for the actual announcement, me and Jeff expressed it. I just bottled it up, but me and Jeff both felt like we got stabbed in the chest by a really hard long sword.
Yeah, Jeff was the one who got the most burn out of this, because he was literally tearing up when we were talking about this after the announcement was made, because he has been an avid supporter of the series since its early inception back in 1996.
Yeah, so have I. And
I wasn't an avid supporter until DOA 2 Hardcore, but that was on the PlayStation 2. But I know a good fighting game when I see one, and back then, Dead or Alive, it was really great. It was a really great fighting. Now looking at it with Team Ninja and Yosuke Hayashi now possibly not wanting to stand by the IP's inheritance with continuing it from where it, currently is right now. It's like you're basically doing the same thing with how fighting games were going during the mid-2000s before they were revived in the late 2000s. Now you're bringing it back into that dark age if you're not going to go by the IP's inheritance even further.
Right. And
that to me, that's just sickening because, there's always going to be people who are going to stand by the franchise at all times, and they crave for more of it because it's one of those things where the people who inherit the IP, they have to live up to everybody's expectations as well as the baggage that they keep building up between each installment because they want to keep the series and grow and continue to move forward instead of, just completely stopping all of a sudden. But unfortunately, Koei Tecmo doesn't even see that because apparently they released a brand new game this year that's called Neo, and apparently they got themselves too gung-ho into the whole Souls craze. And not...
Yep.
When I say Souls, I don't mean Soul Calibur, which Soul Calibur 6 we're definitely looking forward to. We're talking about like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne. Those games that are just hard as balls. They found their newly found passion for that type of gameplay format. And that gameplay style has, blown up for the last few years. But it's like that really shouldn't be your ultimate focus right now because the more you do that, the more others are going to do that too, and that's going to create oversaturation of IPs within that same genre. And you know what's going to happen with that oversaturation means there's going to be diminishing returns that are just going to come in left and right with no stop whatsoever. That was the same thing with what pretty much hurt the fighting game craze back, in their why you didn't see fighting games appear in arcades that much anymore after like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or even Capcom vs. SNK. It wasn't until, nearly a decade later until we finally saw a resurgence within fighting games after that.
So, I mean, I've been with this series since, like Jeff, and you mentioned all this people's... I mean, this series, as a writer and artist, this series has inspired me. I don't know if you ever noticed. You ever noticed how I draw the female figure?
Yeah.
I got it because I was a big fan of Dead or Alive, like...
Mm-hmm.
And like a game that left its imprint on my psyche like this, like to just die, not because it's doing bad, but we have no reason why because it was doing very well. Like you mentioned Neo, did Neo even sell or make as much bank as Dead or Alive 5? Do we know? It couldn't have because
it couldn't have made that much bank as Dead or... I would imagine that it still sold well and not on the levels of Dead or Alive 5 type of sales.
Especially with its DLC, like I don't understand. Like,
and you also got to remember too that the game was published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for at least the PlayStation 4 version of the game before it went multi-platform, and then Koei Tecmo ended up publishing the game for themselves when it came to Steam of all platforms. Yeah, so I would imagine that the game, because it had Sony's stamp of approval with them publishing the game when it came out on their console first, but level of how much Dead or Alive 5 made back after all the re-releases and the DLC that they made after that.
Yeah, and I was even hearing other podcasts about this, and they were saying the same thing, like, it's only DOA 5, no biggie, the next game's come. No, we don't know!
No!
I mean,
because they saying about Virtua Fighter after Virtua Fighter 5.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't come back. I mean, the only thing that came back was Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown, but that was just more of a download game than anything.
That was just an updated Virtua Fighter 5, yeah.
Yeah, for download. It wasn't like a brand new game.
Exactly.
And we still haven't even heard squat about this then.
Yep.
I mean, oh my god. It's like, don't go developer says, because publishers, they still have the final hearsay on all their franchises.
Which brings me to my next point. You segued well into it. Tecmo Koei has about the worst PR I've seen for a video game company since, I don't know, Konami, EA. Mm-hmm. Like, should I drag them down that low, or am I being too harsh?
Oh man, it's kind of hard to say because I think with Dead or Alive 5 it's just the beginning. So I'd say that you're a bit too harsh at this point. But if it keeps going, then I'd say they would be down to the level of where Capcom was at Capcuck level.
Yeah,
because
not even Capcom was that bad.
No, not not even Capcom was that bad, especially with Street Fighter V. Even though we had lots of criticisms with how Street Fighter V was, Yoshinori Ono, he didn't even have any doubts about the fighting game community. He didn't have any doubts about about fighting games going down. He stood by the fighting game community and still wants to keep moving it forward. And
plus, Ono never lied. Even though I still don't. Unlike one of our friends on our Discord, like even though unlike that guy, I still hold Capcom responsible for putting out basically a demo disc for $60.
Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't have been even like that when it released, because it was more in vein of an early access game for the fighting game community. Because
especially
people who enjoyed like the Capcom Pro Tour or even Evo, they really crave for games like them that at every early possible opportunity that they can get their hands on.
That's exactly why I still hold them to releasing the game in that sorry state.
Yeah,
although
I would even hold them in that sorry state for how they treated Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, with mostly bringing in mostly returning characters, with only there being like 5 characters who were brand new before the DLC packs came in.
And all that, basically what I'm getting at is, at least Capcom was honest about it being devoid of content, but unlike our friend, like, I still hold them to bringing it out in that sorry state. Like, I don't give them a pass for that. I'm just saying that at least they were honest, where Tecmo Koei was like, yeah, we have a big announcement! Oh yeah, we're killing the game. That's our big announcement. Like, you don't hype people up for a funeral.
No, you don't, because you just basically did the analogy of just saying, hey, we got a big announcement, and then you just all of a sudden surprised everybody, came up in front of them and just gave them a great kick in the nuts and saying, oh yeah, you like Dead or Alive? Well, guess what? We're placing it on hold. We have no intention in coming back to the fighting game scene anytime soon.
Yeah, like, that's not, like I said, not even Capcom did that. Not even Capcom raised their hopes just to smash them like that.
And we even talked about this too when we were talking, back on Sunday. And I think we all agreed. Is it just us, or is Yosuke Hayashi even more, I would say, pig-headed and arrogant than Tomonobu Itagaki, the original creator of the series?
Yes!
Because when it came to the DLC for Dead or Alive 5, you could see that Yosuke Hayashi had remorse for anything go to the extreme without there possibly being some harshly negative repercussions, not only from SJWs but from others as well, because with many of the DLC that came out for it, as well as like the VR mode for Dead or Alive Extreme 3, with the whole VR mode, how you can just grope the females, it's like that dude just pretty much cranked up to 11 in terms of the weakness
never
factor.
Went that far. Yeah.
And Itagaki, he never even, I mean, sure, he knew that there was going to be controversy if he went that far, but at least he held himself, both Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball and Extreme 2, act more like slice of life type of games, and he wasn't all lewd when it came to the costumes for all the characters, because there was one thing with Itagaki's version of Dead or Alive, he made the visuals of the game have more of an anime feeling in the visuals, whereas Dead or Alive 5 was the start of making the series into a more realistic approach.
Which makes it less creepy when it's anime, because they're more exaggerated, cartoony.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, when you make that change into we really thought that Yosuke Hayashi was bringing the series into a new light with making DOA a more competent fighter and not just all about fan service. And it seemed like it was with the start of, Dead or Alive Dimensions on the 3DS, and even with like the early starts of Dead or Alive 5. But then as time went on, and with and all these updates and all the DLC packs coming, that's when you say to yourself, now we're just starting to see what kind of an egotist that Yosuke Hayashi is. How insane he is as just a game developer.
So how dumb you gotta be to that, even though Neo is good, how dumb you gotta be to leave what will create cash on the table to chase a fad, which is these hard Souls type games.
Yeah.
Even though Neo is good, I'm not saying it's bad.
Right. But of course Team Ninja is also working Omega Force when it comes to the Warriors games, but that's versus own bread and butter. You need to focus on your own bread and butter with what actually makes you money instead of trying to go after a fad, which could, make people or just make the interest in that particular series possibly dwindle if you, just continue to make a carbon copy of the whole Souls series, which, essentially what Neo is a carbon copy of, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and even Bloodborne.
Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was excited when I tried it at first, but then afterwards I was like, this combat...
I've played this game before.
Yeah, the combat, people were praising it for saying that Team Ninja went back to the roots. I say, hell no. They took a big step down because with the Ninja Gaiden reboot series, that was over the top, and that was them, bringing hardcore to hack and slash action beat 'em up type of games. Because they got their shit when they knew how to make a good game like that, especially when Tomonobu Itagaki made those games, especially the first and second one, because he knew how to make games hard, but having in that same mentality where it's more based on trial and error, not frustration. Because even Ninja Gaiden 3, even both the vanilla version and Razor's Edge, they were still filled or brimmed with frustration up to the max.
Oh, God, yeah.
And even Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z was like that. And that wasn't even fully developed by them. That was a cross development between themselves, Concept with KJ, that horrendous developer Spark, and Spark Unlimited for Turning Point, Fall of Liberty, and Legendary. 2 of the worst FPS games in the last generation of gaming.
I've played Turning Point, Fall of Liberty. Yeah, that was hot garbage.
Oh, God. It's like...
Even though... Well, then again, I don't know why I would have. I get motion sick, but...
Yeah.
Still played it, and it stunk.
I mean, there's only one good thing I'll say about Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z. The character, Yaiba Kabakazi.
Yeah, that was a neat idea.
That was the only good thing about that game. But everything else, ugh, God, worst game of that year.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? We're about an hour in.
God,
Any final thoughts?
To say, this is have to say about you and your current initiative or your current vision of the future, Yosuke Hayashi. This is all I have to say to you with a flying, fiery passion of 1,000 suns.
Nigga, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Really? Really?
Exactly. Yes.
How do you leave money on the table? Again, just DOA 5. No, unless I get Team Ninja's Twitter straight up saying there's a new DOA coming, or DOA ain't dead, it was only 5. Them saying it themselves, forget about it. It's dead. But it's dead to them, it's dead to me.
Yeah, exactly. And the last thing I want to mention, too, before we close this off, you remember when I told you that I got a game called Yakuza Kiwami and Persona 5 from GameStop as of recent? And you want to know the reason why or how I got those games than where they're already at, since they're already cheap to begin with their holiday sale? It's because I actually sold back not only Bayonetta 2 and 1 and 2 on the Wii U, since they are coming out on the Switch. Thank God, since we knew about that announcement since the Game Awards. But I sold a couple of games, and one of them was Last Round, and even Neo on the PlayStation 4. Just because of how betrayed I was by Yosuke Hayashi and Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo's announcement during NEC 18.
Yep.
Yeah,
you guys
I sold those games.
Screwed the pooch that hard. You not only made fans mad, you made them turn against you.
Mm-hmm. And there's lots of, animosity between each other within the whole community online, because there's a lot of people who are saying, no, it's not even dead. Dead or Alive 5 is now done. It's like, no. When you have Yosuke Hayashi and announcers making those announcements during that thing, and with that guy, that developer...
straight up weeping.
Weeping with tears on stage is, there's something is up that they're saying, we're not returning to this franchise anytime soon.
So, when they finally come out with a new one, we'll probably be way too old to care, especially about, fan service-laden games. Never mind. Y'all too late.
And based on this alone, and the reason why I sold those games, not only to get those games, but even though I still have Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U and on the Nintendo Switch, for every future Team Ninja game that comes out, I'm boycotting their shit. Because that was just a big, utter betrayal on their part, and a huge stab in the back to all the fans that all these years.
Unless there's a huge corporate restructuring Forget about it, Team Ninja. Forget about it.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys need to change from the inside out.
Yeah, you outdid Capcom with your arrogance. You're making Capcom look like Cap God. Yeah, you're making him look like Cap God right now.
Yeah, compared to y'all.
So, and you know what? I'm actually very excited to start playing more Street Fighter V, and I'm actually even more excited for Dragon Ball Fighter Z and Soul Calibur, and being a playable character in Tekken 7 when he releases this upcoming spring.
Yep. Heck, I'm more excited also for TMNT and Injustice too.
Exactly, and I can't wait for my tax return so I can finally buy Injustice 2 Ultimate Edition on Steam, so that way I can play as the Ninja Turtles in whatever future. Yeah, well, no, that the DLC Pack 3 is the last one I think that they're doing.
Possibly.
But I'll be excited to play those characters fully.
Yep. So
but anyway, that's it on my end.
All I gotta say is, like, you guys need to change from the inside out. You have the worst PR, some of the worst PR. Like I said, part of me wants to put you that low to EA Konami levels just because of how awful you guys are at announcements and how you're acting towards your fans who've been with you from some of them since 5 years, some of them for 1 year, like me and Jeff, for 21 years. This is what you do. Stab us in the chest. Rip out our hearts. Thanks.
That was just them giving a big, huge, flipping us the bird and just giving a huge fuck you to all of its supporters. Just out of the blue. It's it's just like you had a best friend who all of a sudden just turned their back on you all of a sudden. Just went down into the dark depths of the abyss and went straight to hell. Their egos up to the max and just saying, hey, fuck you, you're not even my friend anymore. You know, that's what Dave Bautista said and what we said at the beginning of this episode.
You're supposed to be my...
Yep.
Exactly like that. But anyway, before I'm done with my end.
For this I just got one thing to say. Team Ninja's official Twitter. Happy birthday, Christy! This was just yesterday. No, on Monday. After their announcement. Happy birthday, Christy! Look at our character. You mean she's dead to you? Why are you saying happy birthday? And also, I'm surprised I'm not blocked by you guys. That's one point. You didn't block me, even though I sent you a bunch of hate tweets. That's
and one last thing I want to mention too. This not only killed Jeff as a fan of Team Ninja, but it also killed him as an Xbox supporter.
Wow, exactly. Yeah, you guys screwed the pooch hard, bruh. Y'all messed up.
And even Xbox fanboys got on Jeff's case for, being open-minded and expressing his disappointment, frustration, and just sadness because of this betrayal. Fanboys just shunned him.
Yep, they downvoted him to oblivion on Reddit. Which,
exactly.
Geez.
It's like, with them being like that, and with how did this, that just goes... Microsoft doesn't even care about Japanese support. Or obviously. Not taking full advantage of Japanese support because they only care about what's actually making them money. Because I've been saying this for so long. I don't hate the Xbox brand, but it's way too eccentric for the Western gamer in mind.
Yep, that's how I feel about it too. Yeah, that's why I haven't. The last Xbox I played was the original, because only the original was good for both West and East.
Yeah, that was like the best system they ever came out with. And then everything went to shit when it came to Xbox 360 and got far worse with the Xbox One, especially with its original release and with Xbox One X.
But all right, now that we're at the end and we're going off, anything you want to plug since we ought to wrap up?
Yes. Follow me on my YouTube channel, which is RRPG Reviews, and the link will be in the description. You can also follow me on my Facebook and Twitter. My Facebook fan page is RRPG Reviews, and you can find me on Twitter at RRPG Reviews. I'm Sun retrospective right now. I think I'm about 25% completed, but I won't have it done before Christmas. I think it's one of those things I'll have done within January or early February, hopefully in January, but because I want to get it done before some games that I actually want to play, like Monster Hunter World, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, even Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, and even Lost Sphere on the spiritual successor to I Am Setsuna that was developed by Tokyo RPG Factory for Square Enix. So yeah, I want to get on to those, But anyway, be on the lookout for my Golden Sun retrospective. Hopefully it'll be out within that time period before those games release. And, be on the lookout for more content coming from me in the future and from us at the Geek Fighters that you won't even find anywhere else. And even on on Hero Club, where we post our content on there as well. So yeah, stay glued. And 2018, it's going to be a big year for us in terms of the Geek Fighters, and hopefully we'll go at it big.
All right. By the way, buying Final Fantasy Dissidia will not affect his boycott because the port will be done by Square themselves.
Exactly.
And as for me, what have I got to plug? My webcomic, New Courage, and Mixtape. I update Mixtape whenever I feel like it. New Courage updates Mondays and Wednesdays on tapas.io/series/New Courage. Or just go to tapas.io and search New Courage. Or go to webtoons.com and search New Courage. I mentioned Tapas first because I actually get some ad revenue when you visit the webcomic.
Yeah, and sharing actually does well. With
Sharing helps a huge.
Definitely get this video.
Sharing helps a lot.
Get this podcast or in this video a like. Share it to people, and so that way they hear our. We actually want to grow. I mean, that's the only way.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
we can't just do it ourselves.
Exactly.
If you want to see more of us doing this, then you got to show your support too. So we beg of you, please, subscribe to us, and we will definitely still be there for you. I mean, that's the same thing with like a fighting game franchise. You see a lot more people.
You need a community.
You see more people building up a community for them. Then they're going to continue to put out great, more content for you. That's how games like Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, that's how they continue to grow. It's because of your guys' support. Support us, so that way we'll support you, too, with great quality content.
Yep. So,
anyway,
with that said, join our Discord, and that link will be in the description. Double R, I believe, can just hit the invite people to server link, and boom.
Yeah, that will be in the post as well, and I will get the link in the description for that, too. So, yeah, definitely join us, guys, within the Discord server. We will definitely chat with you when we're on. And there's a lot of other people who chat with us, too. And there's lots of, communities and threads within the whole Geek Fighters public community. So don't be a stranger, neighbor. Mingle with all of us.
Yeah, definitely. All right, then. With that said, I just got 2 words left to say after all that. Nimyo Kanryo.
Peace out!